Hello and welcome to TAMAPTA. I'm Leonard Harry. Last month, the first Inuvialuktun language conference was held. Over 50 delegates from 5 surrounding communities attended. Our culture, learning skills about the land in the schools, as well as during the summer month. These will be the topics of the discussions in this second edition of the critical stage.
Inuvialuit in the Mackenzie-Beaufort region were once a nomadic people. Each family unit had a stable camp. However, as the seasons changed and animals came, the Inuvialuit would follow. As the season calmed, they would return to the main camp. Children had chores to do every day. Their duties were to help with little things such as haul water and wood. As they grew older, more responsibilities were given to them. Only when the chores were done, they were allowed to play. Springtime was a time when kids were more free, and it was a time to explore. Today, many children do not even have the opportunity to go out to any camp. The ones who do aren't given chores, or they are not taught the life of hardship like the elders had. For this reason, in 1984, summer language camps were set up. Also, the parents felt that the older students, the ones past grade 5 to grade 12, should be taught about the language, environment, and the history within the schools during the whole year. In cooperation with the Social Services Department, young offenders who get into trouble are often sent to outpost camps for their sentence to also learn the skills on the land.
At his camp, Jimmy teaches the boys how to look after firearms and weapons. They are taught how to clean and handle guns, but they are not given ammunition when they are on their own.
Aglan Taima Aluta Imanation Manata.
There should be some directive then from the department stating specifically and clearly that these type of things should occur, whether or not Southern teachers think it's Bible or not.
I know the students are real hyper, and like the timing is so short that while kids are running around and trying to settle them down, the time goes fast.
Inuit kanukyak o kakoptata chikun malong nikunit pingahon nikunin hawak tililalo kita na ang lakayari kita kaloy atakan ng Islam naman.
Tamat na tamani lisaw daluit kaluit salumak luit wak luit saluman na kami lisaw daluit kanok sedag liumik.
Ilisaw tutigib luit kin piso katigib luit nunami. Ilisaw di bluwilo ima kano ukko maniak pang mga tay manikalu piswa ngamik inuit upin nga nganit ukiw nganut sumulaw laktak pagyangit ilisaw di lukak luit.
Ang udit 5, ang anat 5, 10 migaulaw magama. 1 wigaulaw magapta tuktuyak tumin nutak kaday sunak tuat. Tuktuyak to kalianak tuk maniu siyan gitaktuk sa kaluan ni.
Luva Inuvialuktun mani inuving minyu ni akapta yutakabut nalulutunik avani kanok inyu ni ako tilangin ni kinyungnik.
Here are comments from some high school students on what they know about their culture. It's not very much. Your native background?
Inuit.
Do you know anything about your Inuit culture, your background?
Hardly.
What are some of the things that you know?
It's things that I know is just that we're losing our language and our ways of living.
Can you tell me a bit about your native background and your history?
No. I don't know much. Like I don't know. I never. Like I hardly know stuff.
Do you think if they started teaching you about your native background and your history and about the land around here, do you think it will help you after you finish your high school and you return to your community?
Yeah.
And like how?
I don't how to hunt and like go into a bush and everything, like teach you the way of life, our way of life and everything.
Do you spend a lot of your time out in the bush when you're at home?
Yeah, sometimes my grandma.
What's your native background, and can you tell me a bit about it?
Oh, I don't know that much about it.
Do you know anything about living on the land?
Yeah,
What kind of things like?
fishing and trapping, sort of, a little bit of trapping.
If they started teaching you about your about the land around here in the high school and about your history background, do you think it will help you when you finish high school?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so.
And like how?
Like if we're working and then you go for holidays, you could go in the bush or something like that.
In the high school, do they teach you anything about your culture?
No, they don't. Next year they'll be starting a new program about northern arts.
Do you think it will help you and the rest of the native students out with that course?
Yes, when we go home we'll find out new things, better things about our cultures.
Did they tell you about that course that's going to be happening next year?
Yeah, they started announcing it, new course.
Are any of the students interested in taking it?
Yeah, some students are planning to take it.
To make sure that young students and young adults learn their native background, the over 50 delegates discussed that the native culture, environment, and traditional skills should be integrated into the school curriculum, as well as taught during the summer months. The students which the delegates were concerned about were the grade 5 to grade 12 range.
Tanik tuina kangma sikok ilisaktuat taniktun kisiano kausip luti Inuvialuktun ukakatinialo aini nakuwi na ekluit wani ilisabing me hinungnik ilisaw jelam Inuviaktunik Inuvialuktun kayuanik ayuwa dayman naliblutik sapang nakiyut kaya sila militsoyet maani Inuvialuktun winga simayo ukaktuni Inuvialuktun nipaayok neaklugo sukasan naklugo kausik ilitsonak pangnakto.
The most important goal we have set for us when we met is that we work together, that we pull together so we can do something about a language that is dying. We don't want to. We don't want to see it die. And yet that's what's happening. There are so many of our young people out there that don't speak Inuvialuktun. You look at all the people there, all the one in white don't speak Inuvialuktun at all. Maybe they understand a little bit, talk a little bit, but we can't save the language for you. You are elders and older parents. Have the language.
Sikowing nakurok igilwan taok aduangat mut kihen kilat ne hat sup lunit abruna nagaling nangalo amiraktut inyong monokau te kaktit nating inyong buleh inyong kau tilak matingimma ilitsoki kaming tabruna tunga kau galora tilangita ilating patut rakat lugut ila nita nilinya hugaluting hiwul khulugut aulatihu mati kananili turak tu minutak kabut tay manili haamata hiwunak lugutam na ukaw tigilakiga sikok tu at ilangit aruangak tinyakaw na matik sikok titsit patut rakay niya kalugut kamanakan niya kautingimma ito ami ko kautiwak pating araktuak pating huniang isat ay kami ngahin ilamig nulutay nakikikuluga kibluting ay takanang ngata na kilala ko diksiko wingmin.
grade 12 nutarak. Aulauti luo kimaktuni nunamun. Kanokolilunin miun kanokisumale orluni inuuniakpa. Anguneaqaneramig naluyok nigartorneramig luunini mailain naluyut kuviaqaneramig sikumataanu naluyut kanokolilutik ilinniarpat ilaittao tanngujalaqaneраанgamik onik grade 12 tikinnamidjung ilamigo qautigaloarmatik ilatik takiummaarluklugit kiumalertorsinnarlugit tusaamasunggiluarapkin upangaimanna ilitigigama taniktun taigulerlunga taningnun oqalerlunga ilumun taabiumanga oqallaktuami uvagut inuuneaqapta ataataptalo anaanaptalu ilisautimatigut inuutsimik sapiqnartoq inuuseriarput.
I'd like to ask Eric, after you heard all these things that these people have talked about, I'd like to know what you're going to do about the school. They're teaching to grade 4 or 5 now, and what are your plans for in the future to try to put them from kindergarten to grade 12? There were some teachers, Inuvialuktun teachers, that had to quit because they couldn't live off what they were being paid. They're the ones that should be paid high salaries because they speak our own language and they're trying to teach our children. And another thing they should have is their own classrooms, because I've known for some places where an Inuvialuktun teacher teaches here, and there's another in the same room that there's another teacher teaching other side. How could they concentrate on what they're doing when they have 2 classes in one place, and plus from moving one to the other, just like we're always on the second list.
One of the things we're doing right now, we're just starting on this month, is the curriculum from kindergarten to grade 12 in Aboriginal languages. And when that is in place, certainly the number of hours will have to be increased. It will be, hopefully we will make it a part of a compulsory part of every school program, if that's what it takes.
Right now, as I understand it, all this is in discussion stage. And the responsibilities to the Beaufort Delta Board for program development is something that's just emerging on the horizon. We know that we know that the new 789 science curriculum is more so a generic curriculum than the complete package of what we used to be delivered in terms of a curriculum package. And we know that if we want to help support our teachers in delivery of that new 789 science curriculum, that we as a board, the board is going to have to provide opportunity for some units and program items to be developed for it. And that becomes local curriculum development. The other one that we know is on the horizon is the K-6 English language arts curriculum. And the department is giving, I guess, this generic package to us, and then by our responsibility to continue with local curriculum development to enhance it so that it reflects more so where the students in this particular locale are in terms of their interests and their needs as learners.
I was working on this program and getting some of the cultural things together, where the final work is being done on it right now, like getting the drawings and the photographs and the proper pages and this sort of thing. And there's a few more things that we have to work on to get the thing together, but We have been talking with teachers about it, and we're also, or they are also working on a teacher's manual to go along with this. And I find it very interesting, and I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of elders about different things. I've listened to stories, and unfortunately, the Inuvialuit culture is passed on from generation to generation in a verbal manner, and which has not been in writing. And I know a lot of people has written stories about Inuvialuit, about the way of life and this sort of thing, which I sometimes have some difficulty with. And most of the stuff we have went and confirmed a lot of it with the elders. And I'm quite proud of the work that's being done on it.
What kind of things are involved in that program? Like what kind of things will be taught to the children involving it?
Well, it's a way of life. There's hunting, there's trapping, and the way it was done in Ilagani a long time ago, some Daimani, which is not in the too distant past, and Khangma. We go into land claims, government, and this sort of thing, and there's an awful lot of culture in there. We have stories from elders that will be going in there, a way of life, hunting, how people traveled, and this sort of thing.
Who's going to be teaching the program?
Well, it will be, we hope that it will be the teachers, and this is why a teacher's guide is being prepared for it. But we hope that we have made recommendations that they use resource people from the communities to go in and talk to the kids about the things that's in the book.
When children hear their language in the school, they think, my language and my history, my culture is legitimate, and it has a very positive effect on children. And I think until the schools start doing that, the kind of failure that we have right now is going to continue, because the system that we have doesn't reinforce the child's positive identity enough. It doesn't do enough to make the child proud of his history and his heritage. It doesn't do much to make children proud of their parents and their grandparents, their elders, and where they came from. That's all very much a part of feeling secure and having inner peace with yourself, knowing your roots, where you came from. And we aren't doing a very good job of teaching children that. So I think that's where we have to go.
Does the department not think then, if that's, you're speaking from the department's perspective as to how they see enhancement of the Inuvialuktun language? Or from Eric Colburn personal, myself?
Yeah, well, Mr. Kakwe is very much concerned about the erosion of the Aboriginal languages in the Northwest Territories. He certainly wants to see a significant change in the system, so that Aboriginal languages are recognized in the schools, are taught in the schools, so that the history, the values, the lifestyle of Aboriginal people are recognized and are very much a part of the school system, perhaps the major part of the school system.
What are your comments on people or the students who are problem students? What is the Department of Education's feeling towards these students?
Well, obviously, the dropout rate is unacceptable. The solutions, some of the solutions to that problem have been talked about here, and I think what people have said is right on, that when you have students in a school system who have lost contact with their history, don't develop a sense of identity through the school system and through their parents and through their community, then dropout is one of the consequences of that. So it's certainly clear to me and clear to the Minister of Education that one of the things that we have to do is to ensure that the school system reinforces the identity of the children in the school.
Problem students. Young offenders are given the opportunity to regain their identity and culture back through camps such as the Newtline camp outside of Aklavik and other outpost camps.
Ndakhanik munakaraktud hana hoyuting ni malawni. Humilya ka ilok pang nilo nagkakakating sa pamilyo nakalawin milyo humilya ka takpamuaktilara ka na kahit nidakhat ko social worker ni kunikta ka nakpati sa inyo peto muna ka rin nitakat takpamuaktilara ka na kahit na inyo niya matun makami tayo na ngilikan inyo niya ako tira kayo kaya ako tiluid imertaktok tiluid pagpagala na ilihaw rakaktut nuya ako mata ilihaw rin at takpamakan ilihaw laraktut mantiminganin si Samuel mo nagala.
Huli ino takhat grade 3 ngo kaminglo, grade 4 ngo kaminglo. Nireruti ni kilihakaktut ilihakaving me. Huli aktu ako tiarivut nireruti tiun. Hahi tema aulaw tilak pati kimma ingming niktaw dukumihik tamakwat nirerutit ilimunok haktu atun pinayakatigut.
Tapkwat yutakkat ayokhangitut. The kids that are not problem children, would that camp benefit for those kids? Tay maapakotigiya.
Taut simiulai chut nakuruallo huinyakuruallo social service kun taut simiup kalait kait taut simup kalawaming ilin makikhini ang iludik tamat ko na nga hibulikhil ko na matagik.
Hapekhara leok takalunga. Ubagot tika nino takkabot abot ligi hutik akalawing me. Mataut sigo gumigilunin ilin niya yaktut kilamit. Ingmik nun pianip kakaming hukum niya, kanokim niya inyo piatun. Huslagaw ti akirakto da pihuin niya kakotik. Ta naakto rin nalakto na huwin niya nakakalihaw rin niya akto ni.
Agalad 2 weeks night kadoktor. Tapkot huli adlata kun niksiyang human. Kisrek pigok ilisawra kadik pigok ona kait 2 weeks night paiglun.
Aula apto pinak kilaluk kanita kun ngamablunin takkad alias ungito dai kilaluk akmata tan mabipting ni. Takun nakasudi kilaluk kani. Tanbad taiman na taman upinanak taman inudakat kilik pagtokalo daw laudak sa minik. Taiman nakasuli aula aulap sa amig man na taman upinanak taman.
After these discussions, everyone broke into groups to come up with proposed ideas on specific topics. These were later put together and set down as recommendations. These were strong ideas felt about integration of the culture into the schools up to grade 12, the Newtlangs camp, and the language camps.
Teachers, they always just try to put something in their head. They pound something in their head that they don't even understand or they don't even know. We are the people of the Northland. We're not from outsiders. So, you know, we know that the good Lord loves us and He supplies us what we need in order for us to survive in this Northland. That's the way us older people was brought up. Our old ways from our ancestors. There's a really important thing here that we got to preserve our language. You know, we can't divide our language and culture too. They got to work together.
They should keep a diary so that when they come back to town and it's time to go to school again, these kids can write a story about their life in the bush camp for 3 weeks. And through telling this story in school, if other kids hear about this camp, how much fun they had and how they learned about their land, their language, and their culture, it will encourage other children. They're going to listen to their story and say, oh, how nice, how lucky you get to go to this camp, and it'll make kids more interested, and then that way you might be able to get money every year to set up these camps because you have lots of kids interested. These language camps should not be a pilot project where they're only tried once and put away, you know, and forgotten about. It should be an ongoing project which would happen every summer or whenever the community decides on when these camps should be held. If you get community support, your camp should be successful. Therefore, your funding should be ongoing. And the women in the camp should teach our girls their bush skills. And then the men should teach the boys bush skills and also firearm safety. And the boys, especially when you take them out to the camps, they should be interested in going because the boys are often expected to do a lot more in the bush than the girls are because when they get older, they're going to fend for their family, so they have to learn to start fending when they're young. There also was another concern about why we talked about Newtlang camp in our group was that a couple of people in our group from the Beaufort felt that a camp setting similar to Newtlang camp should be set up in the Beaufort area for the kids in their region.
Above all, I think we have the responsibility, you know, to take the most important things that have come out of our past and make them work for the present.